All right, so there's been a lot of question about this doorway that was found by the Curiosity Rover on Sol 3466. A lot of people want to know, is this a natural feature that was formed in the rock, or was this something artificial that was constructed by human or humanoid hands, something with intelligence? There's a few things that I want to point out before we get into the video. And that is right here to my right, you can see this post right here in front. When we get into the enhanced image, you'll see it better. And the inside of these walls, they really look like they're concrete or some sort of plaster or something like that. You can even see behind me over here, this crack going down this wall. Is this natural or is it an artificial structure? Well, let's go into the model and the enhanced images and let us take a look. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Inhabitmars channel. Today we're going to take a look at this doorway that people have been talking about. I've been working on this model and trying to get it done. It's taken a little while, but we finally got it done. We're going to take a look at this Gigapan by Neville Thompson. He's a great Gigapan artist, as most of you know. Let's go ahead and full screen this. Okay, so our doorway is located right here. And the big question about this, is this a natural doorway or is this something that was actually constructed? And I think I'll be able to show you a few things that might sway you one way or the other. So let's get into this and take a look. Here's the doorway here. We're zoomed into it now. And I haven't done anything. This is the way that it came. Of course, Neville Thompson cleaned it up for us and everything. But one thing I want to point out, and I'm going to show you this obviously in the model too, is what looks like a post right here. You can see this line from the back of this post going up. Okay. And then of course it comes across here. There's actually one on this side. Look inside here and you can see how this goes inside. And this is a very rectangular opening. It's almost perfect, or as perfect as you can get, including this roof piece that actually sticks out. All right, this sticks out from the wall. All right, and this goes back pretty straight. So I don't think you can get any better construction than, and the inside seems to be either concrete or maybe plaster or something. It's very smooth. You can see in the texture. I'll get in as close as we can without it breaking up. And you can actually see a corner right here. See how all this comes to a corner? That one across here, and then across here, and this comes down. Those are corners right there. And there's actually a crack that runs along through there. And that's the doorway right there. And then you have this rectangular piece that comes out in front. And you can actually see this left edge of this come down. See that right there? It comes all the way down to here. And then one thing that Ricardo actually pointed out was this rock right here. And he believes that this may have been the seal to this doorway. Now, if this is a sepulcher or a tomb, then this would have a seal in front of the door. They'd place the bodies inside. Body or bodies, I should say, and they would seal it up and then it would be covered with wax. So that may be part of the doorway right there. He may be absolutely right on that. Another thing that I want to say that Joe White pointed out, this rock right here, if there was a round stone, or if this was more rounded, they would actually, in the ancient days, they would actually roll a huge round boulder in front of this to seal it up. And this is actually sticking out in front of this structure or rock, and it's actually sloped at an angle to where you could remove a stone from in front and this would roll down and then seal the door. A few other features that I want to point out is, like we talked about, this rock that's on top, you can see the shadow underneath, and then you see this part right here. I believe this is actually moisture seeping out from under these rocks and wetting these stones right here, these huge boulders. There it is there, and it's in several places. All right, so that's just, NASA doesn't believe that there's a whole lot of moisture, although they are changing their tune on that. They believe it's a very dry, arid planet, but we're seeing what looks like moisture. Those are not the shadows, by the way. The shadow is coming from just a little bit in front of the structure. If we look back at our doorway, look how the shadow starts right here, and this is an overhang right here. So the sun is in front of you and just slightly to the left. All right, so it's not the shadow. And you actually get a little bit right here too. So those aren't shadows, those are probably moisture or a darker part of the rock for whatever reason, but I'm thinking this is moisture seeping out, and this shadow does, if it was a shadow, doesn't even match the shape of this boulder. So I don't believe it's a shadow. A couple other things I want to point out. I don't think anybody's noticed this, but we talked about this last week in the live chat. There actually seems to be a drain right here for water to come out, or something else. But take a look at the shape of this. It looks like, first of all, it looks like concrete. You got this part to scoop down like this, and it actually comes to a, well, it comes to a rounded part, almost completely circular, and then it comes back at angles like this, like it makes a V right in here. And there's one more, just in case you don't think that one's one. Let me see. Okay, and that was actually right here. It looks like the same thing. This looks like concrete, and that's as close as I can get in here. But it goes back in that V shape, and then it comes down into a bowl like this, and that's right there. It's a little harder to see, but it's there. All right, I think these are drains to let the water funnel down in certain places. Maybe that's how they collect the water. Maybe it's just to help with drainage, like you'd put on the outside of your house where the bottom of your gutter system is, where the pipe comes down. You usually put that concrete piece underneath there, although these are probably a little bigger. And then we're going to look at this right here. This stone right here looks pretty cool, and the one on top of it. And then another thing I wanted to point out, and then we'll get into the model, is this right here. This was cool. This thing, I call it the Christmas tree. I have no idea what it is, but it looks like it was standing up on this rock maybe, and then it fell backwards when the disaster hit, and it actually broke the roof part right here, and this all collapsed down, and there's actually a piece that's still sticking out right there. All right, so I wanted to point that out. Let's go ahead and get into the model now. All right, so here we are in our model in Blender, and I used as much of the original texture as possible. It was a little difficult with the angle everything was at, so I had to borrow some textures at other places and try to make them fit as good as possible. But it turned out pretty decent. Let's go ahead and look at this doorway right here. So here's our doorway, and we're looking at it from approximately the same angle, right about there. Okay. All right, and you can see that crack going along the wall. it pretty well fit on the model with the original texture. All right, and then there's these posts here in front, and this is what I wanted to show you. These are, and this is the actual texture from it. When I put the light on it, it actually came out lighter than the concrete inside, or whatever the material is. But this is what this doorway looks like. And we saw, by the way, from 34, I believe it was 3466, there's actually another wall that comes across here. And then this piece right here actually sticks out. All right, it comes straight out. All right, so I'm going to back this light up, and so you can see that everything is the same texture. And we'll place it right there, and that's going to make this a little light because it's obviously shining on that. But there we go. That's what this looks like on the inside. That is the actual doorway that people have been talking about. And we did see, like I say, in the other Gigapan, that these are posts, and there's one on this side, and this wall goes back. I thought there would be an opening, like this was an opening to the structure, but from what I can see in the image, and it's not very clear, but we can still see it, it goes back, it looks like all the way, and actually this is probably the size, the entire size of this tomb. And the other thing is, the front of this structure comes out at angles like this. This part didn't come out as much. In the other Gigapan, we actually saw all this from about this angle right here, and it was stretched really bad. This was that would be 3480, the Gigapan that was done on that, and you can actually see how this would come down, and you'd roll maybe a stone or something in front just to keep people out and robbing the graves, I think. Here's the stone that Ricardo was talking about, and like I said, he may be absolutely correct on this. This may be one that fits in front of this door. Yeah, that may fit in front of that door. In fact, all right, so as we come over here, here's where that drain is right here. And I think it's a drain, but you know, we're just guessing based on the shapes and where they're located. But if water were to seep out underneath this structure over here, this is kind of a low part in the terrain. As you kind of see, in my terrain's not perfect, I realize that, but you can see that this would be the low part, and the water would probably collect here and it would drain down through here. So this may be some sort of drainage structure. And then this rock right here, and I didn't get the one modeled in front of it. I wish I would have had a little more time to do this, but got to get this out eventually. Looks like some sort of casket or something. I'm not sure exactly. And there's actually an opening right here where it was either broken open or something else right here. So it may not be a casket, it might be something else, but that's where that hole would be. And then you have this piece over here that was actually broken off from it. And then this rock right here actually is sitting on top of it, and there's more stuff behind it, but I once again didn't get a chance to model all that. And then I wanted to point this piece out. We talked about this in the live chat. This thing is scooped out right here the same way as those drains are, and this one is big and it's pretty deep, so I'm not sure what this is, but yeah, this thing is pretty cool. We can get down inside of here, but yeah, that was pretty cool. So I'm not sure what this is exactly, but it's another part of the structure. And then we get over here to what I call a Christmas tree, and these are sitting in front of it. When you're looking at the image, it's kind of like this angle right here, something like that. May not be exact. And this thing is pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate this up so we can take a look at it. I believe it sat up kind of like this, and that's what that kind of looks like. And once again, the textures aren't perfect, but it's the best I could find in the image to use. Actually, these didn't unwrap right. It's got this kind of squarish, well, it's kind of rounded on the edge, square base to it, and then it's got this piece right here is kind of a wedge shape that was in front of it. Now these stones right here, they all look like pieces that came from the roof, but some of them broke off in a weird shape. Like this one has a very definite shape to it. In fact, both of these do right here. So I don't know if they were part of the roof that broke off or if they were something that was sitting inside of here. Same with this one right here. So those looked pretty interesting. We went ahead and modeled those. And then in actuality, over here we have another part of the roof that got collapsed. And I don't know if it collapsed all the way back, but we had this weird looking stone right here. And then this one is kind of shaped like a dog bone. That's the best I can describe it. And then it's got this piece that sticks up here. So that was all pretty cool. And this has really been a challenge to get everything modeled and fitting right. And I still don't have it all fit right, but it's pretty close. There's maybe a little bit of space between these structures in the front and the ones in the back. So I think I've got it pretty close. I looked at it from the different saws just to see. Alright, so if we do another video on this, I'll get into those other Gigapans more so we can see this at an angle more like this. That was the one angle and that was the other one. Just based on time, I'm going to have to go ahead and cut off here. But you guys take care. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we shall see you on the next video.